Let us get into our next topic, conditionals, loops, and functions. These are very important, especially when you are handling large amount of data. When you have to do the repetitive process, you may have to use for loop, while loop, or when you are doing the same thing again and again, if you want to automate, you may need to write functions. Definitely, when you are checking whether something is greater than a particular value, whether a particular value is compared to a particular number, in those places you may have to use conditionals. So let us get a complete understanding of these conditionals, loops, and functions within Python that will help you to become a good programmer later on. Let us start with conditionals, if then else statement. These are all very simple concepts. We just need to understand how they work. Otherwise, everything else is easy. Let's say if you're defining age variable, let's say age is a 60. I have defined age variable. Now, if age is less than 50, then I want to print group 1. If age is more than 50, then I want to print nothing. Okay. So what I want to write is if age is less than 50, then you have to put a colon, then hit enter. Automatically, you will see this indentation. That means automatically the cursor comes here. That means whatever you write here is part of if. Then you write print. What do you want to print? You simply print group 1. That's what you want to print. That's it. If age is less than 50, simply you want to print group 1. Actually, age is 60, so group 1 will not be printed. How do you even know whether this worked or not? So you simply write, you come out of this loop. How do you come out of that if condition? You come to the first position. So here, if you are there, that means if condition is valid. You come out of this and you say print, you're done with if. I'm done with if. So if you execute this particular piece of code, if you execute this particular piece of code, what will be the output? Age is 60, but if age is less than 50, then it will be printed, but it is not. So you will get only done with if condition will work and it will come out done with if will be printed. In the other case, let's say if you write the same code and you write if age is greater than 50, if age is greater than 50, you will actually get into the inside the condition. If age is greater than 50, then you print group 2, then you come out of it and then you will print done with if. So what will be the output of this? Age value is 60, but you're checking if age is greater than 50. Yes, it is greater than 50. You will enter the loop or if condition. Then you come out of it, you will print this one. So the output will be having two lines, group 2, and you will also have done with if. Try to understand what's happening here. What's happening here? Age is 60, so you have entered the condition, which is like printing group 2. You're entering inside that if condition and you came out. It's as good as like this condition, like this is if and whatever is afterwards done with if. Let us suppose if I write the same thing this manner, if I write the same thing this manner, okay, let's say age is, if age is less than 50, okay, right now I'm defining age as 60, age is 60. What I'm checking is if age is less than 50, do this. If I execute this, are you going to get, what is the output that you will get? Are you going to get done with if as output? Are you going to get it? Check that. Check this code and let me know. Are you going to get done with if as the output? Age is 60. We are checking if age is less than 50, then do this. But age is not less than 50. So none of this will be printed. Done with if will not be printed because this is still part of if, because this, look at this indentation, look at this line. It means this is part of if only. You need to be careful with that. So if you want to print anything outside if, let's say you wrote an if condition, and then you want to come outside that, very specifically, you have to be careful with this indentation. Otherwise, usually what happens is you write an if condition, later on something like you're defining my x value is something like 7, my y value is something like 20. If you're thinking that, okay, x and y values later on I'm going to print them, print x, print y, okay. If you're planning to define x and y values. You're thinking that, okay, you have checked the age condition, you're done with that code, and you're writing these two lines of code separately. That is uh, that is a piece of code, that the code snippet that has no connection with the if condition. If you're thinking like that, which is wrong, because there is a gap here, which means x and y will not be defined. X is not defined, y is not defined, because it is part of if you want to bring that out of if, you're supposed to write like that. The indentation is careful. We need to be careful with the indentation. Now x and y are outside if condition, they are defined. Okay, you can write if and else also. Let's say if age is less than 50, I want to print, let's say age is 60. If age is less than 50, I want to print group 1. Else, so you have to come here and then type else. What is the else condition that you want to write? Else age, I want to print group 2. That's what I want to print, simply else group 2. So group 1 or group 2. If age is less than 50, then group 1. If age is more than 50, then group 2. Just simply execute that. So since age is 60, it is group 2. If age would have been 40, then the output is group 1. If the age would have been 30, then also the output is group 1. If the age is 80, then the output is group 2. Simple. You can write multiple conditions as well. Instead of if else, you can write, let's say, the marks that I got are 86. Now the conditions are, if the marks in the exam are less than 30, then I want to print, you know what, you have failed. Okay, then print fail. Okay, print the output as failed. Now, else, earlier, if you have just only one else condition, you write else. But now here you have to say elif. That means else if, again, I am giving a condition. Earlier, I simply wrote else. There's no condition. But if you want to give another condition, once again, if the marks are less than 60 this time, that means they are more than 30, but they are less than 60. Marks are less than 60. If you come to this condition, you pass that one, you come here, then the output, like here you have to give a colon, then automatically it'll come here. Then you want to print, if you are from 30 to 60, what I want to print is second class. Okay, if else, if they are less than 80, they are from 60 to 80, it becomes effectively, and this need to be here. Then I would say first class. You got first class. Finally, else condition I want to write. There is nothing else, like else. Okay, else I would say, or let's say I want to write one more condition. If they are less than 100, if the marks are less than 100, then I would say distinction. Pretty good. Distinction. Distinction. Score distinction. Else, finally, the else condition is, if nothing of that sort happens, let's say either you fail, you get second class or first class or distinction, else nothing that happens, maybe there is some error in the input that you have given. So error in marks. So that's what I want to print. So since the marks are 86, distinction. If the marks are 30, 306, error in marks. 306 is wrong, isn't it? If the marks are 98, then distinction. If the marks are 20, sorry, you got fail. If the marks are 200, error in marks. If the marks are 75, then first class. If elif is used in that place where earlier if it is if versus else, but if you want to give if else also, if you want to give a condition, then you use elif. Very easy to understand. We just need to practice it multiple times. So for you to practice it, I'm giving you a lab exercise. Go to our lab exercise, first lab exercise, where you have to understand this particular requirement. Right there, if then else condition to check whether the income, it's not whether, it's a whether, okay, whether the income, whether The income is low or medium or high. Okay. Income less than 5,000, low income. Income 5,000 to 15,000, medium income. Income above 15,000 is high income. Write the code in the similar format that we discussed. Test it with 3 or 4 different types of incomes. Then you must be able to check whether you have written it correctly or not. The same thing, right? If then else condition to print if age is less than 18 or income. Here you're giving two conditions. This is slightly complex. You're checking whether age is less than 18, income is less than 10,000, then disqualified, else qualified. So you're going to define age here, you're going to define income here, and you're going to write the condition on both of them. If age is less than 18 and income is less than 10,000, then you're printing something, else you are saying something else. Check this. It is slightly complex than what we have discussed, but you must be able to do it. Do some Googling here and there, do some searching. You must be able to do it. Okay. That is your first exercise. Now let us see how to work with for loop in Python. We just completed if else. Now let us get into for loop. Let us suppose if you want to run a loop, if you want to run an iterator, how does that work in Python? Let us see. So let's say if I want to print first 20 numbers, how does that work? For I in range 1 to 20, or you can write any list also here, but range 1 to 20 will give you 1 to 20 numbers. Actually, let's say range 1 to 20, if you print it, what does it give? Including 1, excluding 20, by the way. So range 1 to 20, it's just range 1 to 20. Basically, it will be 1 to 20 values. But what if I want to print one by one, one by one? I don't want that to be displayed like this range. What if I want to print one by one values? You can run a for loop. For I in range 1 to 20, print I. Or I want to print the number is whatever is the number is I. That's what I want to print. Number is 1, number is 2, and so on. 1 to 20, 20 is excluded, 1 is included. That is what a for loop is. For I in a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has to be a list, by the way. For I in the list, in this list, the number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 56, whatever it is. We are just iterating this over this list, over the range, whatever it is. What if I want to find the cumulative sum of first 10 numbers? Cumulative sum of first 10 numbers. First of all, how do you get first 10 numbers? I use range 1 to 11. What it will do is it will give me first 10 numbers. So for I in range 1 to 11, first of all, let us print the number. Right now we have seen printing that I, that number, that just printing the number as it is. But what if you want to find the summation, cumulative sum? So first define cumulative sum. Cumulative sum is equal to 0. That will be defined outside. Now, apart from printing I, what I'll do is cumulative sum plus cumulative, that is equal to cumulative sum plus I. That's what I want to calculate. First, when the number is 1, 0 plus 1. When the number is 2, whatever is the previous sum plus this one. So what I'll do is cumulative sum is equal to cumulative sum plus I. Until now, whatever is the summation, that plus I, whatever is that particular number. Finally, what do you want to print? What I want to print is eventually print cumulative sum until that number is, what is the cumulative sum? In fact, this will print for every element. If you write this outside the loop, then it will give you cumulative sum is, oh sorry, not print, is cum sum, cumulative sum. Here you go. Cumulative sum for the first time is 1, second time is 3, and so on. Let me also print until I. Cumulative sum until I is, what is I? What is I? I is this particular number. Okay. Now the output would be cumulative sum until, sorry, cumulative sum until 1 is 1, cumulative sum until 2 is 1 plus 2, 3, until 3 is 1 plus 2 plus 3, 6, until 10 is 55. That's how cumulative sum works. What if I want to break at a certain point? I want to find the cumulative sum, but I wrote range is 1 to 200. But as soon as I reach first 10 numbers, I want to break. As soon as I reach first 10 numbers, I want to break. Because if I do it this way, first 200 numbers, cumulative sum is printed, but I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the first 20 numbers only. If that is the case, what you can do is you can write an if condition. Okay. If you can print this, that's fine. But on top of it, you add an if condition. If within the for loop itself, if I is greater than 10, the moment the I is going to 11 and all that, just stop it, break it. You simply say break, break it. Break this when I is reaching beyond 10. Of course, it will be printing only until 11. Okay. If you want to break a little beforehand, let's say here it is going until 11 and then checking the condition, cumulative sum is already calculated. So if I want to put that break condition slightly earlier, let's say if I put, if the value of I is greater than 10, then break it. Before calculating the cumulative sum, I can keep this if condition. So doing so, what it will do is before itself, before calculating cumulative sum, it will check that whether to break or whether to continue. If it has to break, it will break, otherwise it will continue. So it will stand. Not only on this, you can apply this condition on cumulative sum as well. If the cumulative sum is greater than 100, then also if you want to stop, let's say here in the same condition, range is 1 to 200, but if the cumulative sum, the moment it reaches greater than 100, then I want to break it. Until 100, I want to keep it. So until 14, it is 105. The moment cumulative sum is more than 100, the statement will break. It will not go too far ahead. So you can use a for loop and you can break it by using this break statement. This can be a range or this can be a list also. It can be a tuple also. Okay, usually range is taken or most often list is taken here. Okay. So that is about the for loop. Let us do the exercise related to for loop. I want you to understand this lab exercise, what exactly is required here. Create this list, use a for loop statement to print out all even values. Don't print the complete list. You have to print the even values out of this list. Print every fourth number in the first 100 numbers using a for loop. The output should look like this. Also try to use break statement. Maybe instead of 100, take 200 numbers, only break after 100 numbers. Try that exercise as well. That is our lab exercise, just to recap the for loop concept. There is one more alternative to for loop that is known as list comprehension. For example, if you go to our first for loop, let's say printing the first 10 or 20 numbers out of here for I in range. Okay. Let's say for I in range 1 to 10. If I want to print the first 10 numbers, this is how I'm doing, or okay, excluding the 10th one. What if I want to achieve the same thing using list comprehension? How is it done? Here is how you do it. So what you do is you put it like a list and then you write the result, condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, and so on. So what's the result? What's the result that you're trying to do? The result is the number is I. You just want to print the number. That's the result. Okay, my result is print I. That's what I want to do. That's my result. And there's no comma, just space. For I in range, what's the range? 1 to 10. For I in range 1 to 10. Oops. For I in range 1 to 10. Print the number, or you don't even need print actually. That print is giving this none, 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 and all that. The result is I, then space for I in range, this one. Result, condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, and so on. Here there's only one condition. If I want to put another condition, let's say if I want to use break, then simply put space if I is less than 5. That's it. If I is less than 5, then only I want to print that result. If I is less than 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the condition 2. Let's say I, for I in 1 to 10. That means I'm planning to print 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on 9. If I is less than 5, that is the second condition. You can give another condition as well. What if I want to print everything for I in, let's say for I in range 1 to 30. If I is less than 15, that's the second condition. The third condition is if I is an even number. How do you check whether I is an even number? I percentage 2. What does that mean? It means what is the remainder? If that is equal to 1, that means it's an odd number. If that is equal to 0, that's an even number. Result is I. For I in 1 to 30 numbers, if I is less than 15, and if you divide that with 2, if you get 0, only print those numbers. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14. But why is it not going till 30? Because I is less than 15. If you say for I less than 20, until here it will be printed. I divided by 2 is equal to 0. It's not actually divided by, it's a remainder after dividing by 2. This is known as list comprehension. You write the result. Okay, the result is whatever you write here, and write condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, and so on with a space. You can achieve the same thing with for loop, that is also fine, or you can also use list comprehension, any of these two. So let us do a small exercise on list comprehension. Create a list, use list comprehension to print out all even values. The condition is pretty simple. Print every fourth number of the first 100 elements using the list comprehension. Repeat the same exercise in the for loop that we have done, but this time we do not want to use for loop. We want to use list comprehension. Give it a try. Now, once you're done with that, let's go to the next part, which is writing a function. How do you write a function? When you are writing a function, you start with def. So let me add a text here. Functions. Functions. You need to start the functions with def and whatever is function name, my function. Whatever is your function name, my function name. And then you put all the parameters. So you put parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, whatever parameters are, and then you give the colon and you write all the lines of code. Okay, what are all the function related lines of code? These are all the, like this is your code line 1, code line 2, code line 3. Finally you write return, then this one. That is it. That's how the function works. In fact, since you have to give it here, the return should come here. So basically the indentation, we need to be careful. This is a place where you write the code lines. Let's say, let's write a function that will calculate the distance between 2 points. Let's write a function. The function name is distance calculator, or my function name is my distance. My dist is the function name. And what is it doing? So my function name is my dist. And my function takes the values as x1, y1, that's the input, 0.1, and then x2, y2, that is 0.2. So it takes 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2. Then it calculates x1, x2, y1, y2, x1, y1, x2, y2. These are the 2 points that I'm taking as input. And then what I want to do is I want to calculate the square root of x2 minus x1 whole square, y2 minus y1 whole square. So how do I do that? I use a function called input map function, and then I would like to calculate distance. My distance is equal to math dot square root, sqrt, square root function, and x2 minus x1 whole square. So for that I'll write the power function, I'll use it, that is x2 minus x1 whole square inside the power function that I have to use, x2 minus x1 whole square. Similarly, plus all that under the square root, the second term is y2 minus y1 whole square. What's that? y2 minus y1 whole square. That is it. Calculate the distance. Distance will be calculated. And what do you want to return? Well, I want to return distance. This is what I want to return. Distance equal to math dot square root. I think there is one parenthesis that is missing. That is the first term. Power of x2 minus x1 whole square. Power of y2 minus y1 whole square. Here you go. Still return distance. Let us see what is the issue here. Delete this. Delete this. Yes. Return distance. Square root power x2 minus x1 whole square. This is not required. This is extra. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. This is also fine. That looks good now. Okay. This is the distance function. Now I can calculate. I can use the function mydist. My distance is the function that I want to use. Let's say let's calculate distance between 0, 0 element, 0, 0 point, and 1, 1 point. What is the distance between 0, 0 and 1, 1? 0, 0 to 1, 1 is 1.414. You must be knowing that. What is the distance between 0 to 1? Okay, square root of 2. What is square root of 2? That is 1.414. 0, 0, comma 2, comma 2. That will be what? Square root of 4. That will be 2.82. Square root of 5 is like 0, 0 to 2, 2. Okay, that is the square root of 2 square plus square root of 2 square. That will be, so that will be square root of 4 plus 4, square root of 8. That will be somewhere around, this will be what? 2.82 or something. Any points, any point, distance between any points you can find out. That will be, let's say my first point is 4, 6. That's my first point. The second point is 1, 2. That's the second point. The distance between them would be square root of all that. That distance is 5. That's how you create a function. You write def, and then you write the function name, and then the parameters that you take, and whatever is the logic, and finally what you want to return. This is the simplest way of writing the function. If required, we will learn a little bit more advanced about functions, but as of now, this basic understanding of function should be sufficient. Maybe at the later stage, in the advanced stage of Python, we will be learning object-oriented programming basics. There we will see how effectively you can write these functions, how you can reuse a lot of variables or classes or the objects that you have defined again and again. That brings us to the last exercise, last lab exercise. So create a function that takes the bill amount as input value and returns the bill amount plus GST added, 18% and plus delivery charges added. If the input is 1,000, it should be 1,000 plus what is the GST, 180 rupees plus 50. So the output should be somewhat around 12. 30. Okay, that should be the output that you must get. Create a function that takes the length and width of a rectangle. If the length is 2, if the width is 4, then the output should give you two values. It should give us the area. What is the area of the rectangle? 8. And it should also give you the perimeter. What is the perimeter? 2 into a plus b, like 2 into a plus b. That is the perimeter. That will be what? 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 2 is 12, and then the area 4 2 is 8. That should be the output. If 5 comma 8 are given, perimeter is 26, 5 8 is 40 is the area that you will get. Create a function that takes the full name as input. Now this is a string function. It should take full name as input. Let's say if the input is Venkat Reddy, and it should return the first name's first letter and the second name's first letter. VR should be the output. Okay, that's what you have to do here. Create these small functions. These functions will help you later on to automate the stuff. We are not really talking about advanced functions. We're just knowing some of the basics of the functions here.